A disability is something that has a major impact on your life.
Every disability is different.
And it's never the same thing for two people. I am blind in my right eye totally and partially sighted in my left eye.
I was 18 years old. We were traveling way too fast on a gravel road. Broke my neck, my back.
My Asperger's syndrome and my cerebral palsy.
I have anxiety and depression. People would have no idea just talking to me.
Being independent means different things to different people.
I want to live in my own house. I want to pay my own bills.
Live independently and not rely on other people.
When someone is not able to live as independently as they can, it does have a detrimental effect on people's physical and mental well-being.
It's no complicated thing. It's just that people with disabilities want to be included.
Plenty of people get stuck in ruts when they feel like they can't overcome something in their life. That's where Lyft comes in.
Living independently for today and tomorrow. Lyft. We help people of all ages and all types of disabilities find the resources or acquire the skills to live as independently as possible.
We serve the southeastern 18 counties here at the Billings office. We have a variety of things that we offer. We can help with grant funding for adaptive equipment.
Maybe a home modification so they're able to access their home. We help people to find that funding.
Helping people apply for Social Security benefits.
Medicaid, Medicare, housing.
They have a peer support group. Peer support, I think, is key.
Sharing life experiences is one of the most powerful things to help people who might be new to disability, who might be struggling with their disability.
Youth transitions is kids that are transitioning out of high school. They need to learn those adulting skills. It might be rent an apartment, learn how to grocery shop, budgeting.
Help someone advocate for themselves in a school or an employment setting. One of our biggest strengths is providing folks with information and referral. If we can't help you, we hope to know who can.
A lot of times we'll have a potential consumer call in and they think that they just have one need, and it turns out that we end up finding 3 or 4 things we can actually do for them.
You can just come in and say, hey, I feel like I have this going on. Can you help me? And we can, which is so cool to me. I love that.
Most of us on staff at Lyft have identified ourselves as having one or more disabilities. That is helpful in many cases.
It's easier to empathize with someone when you yourself have struggled with a disability.
This is what we specialize in. This is who we are, and this is what we do.
And it costs nothing to go to Lyft. It's a nonprofit organization and they're there to help.
Somebody that was a consumer that was working with Lyft was asked to do an art project. He visualized that the balloon helps to lift people up. And then it became the logo, and it's stuck.
There's been success on all kinds of levels.
It's really rewarding to have a consumer go, hey, I was able to do this by myself today.
We want people to live their best life as independent as possible.
Live as everyone else in society and live as a part of society, not apart from society.
Everybody needs help. Sometimes you just need a little more help, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay.
There's plenty of life to live still, and there's a way you can do it. Keep chipping away at it, little by little by little.
Knowledge is power. Let's share it, for crying out loud.
Send us an email, give us a call. We'll do our best to help.
We can definitely help figure out what your needs are and get started on that. We're one of many steps in the path to independence, and we're happy to be serving people here in the community.
Good day and welcome to Living Well in Montana. Living Well in Montana is a program of living independently for today and tomorrow, or LIFT, L-I-F-T-T, as we like to call ourselves. LIFT is what is known as a Center for Independent Living. We are a nonprofit resource of information and advocacy for people with all types of disabilities at any age across our 18-county service area in southeastern and south central Montana. For more information about LIFT, I encourage you to visit our website at lift.org or download our mobile app for your Apple or Android device. My name is Jed Barton, and it is my privilege to be a public relations specialist at LIFT and today's host. One of the topics that comes up most often at LIFT, both with consumers seeking services as well as the business owners and facility operators and the general public, is that of service animals. Their training, is there funding available to help cover training costs? What are the requirements for a service animal? What makes a service animal a service animal? And the laws regarding access rights and responsibilities. Fortunately at LIFT, we are lucky to have Alicia Anderson and her team at Mountain Made Canine as one of our key strategic partners, helping provide the best information and services on the subject of service animals. We welcome Alicia and Timber, who is a multi-purpose service dog, as our guest today. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
So Alicia, we'll start. Tell us a little bit about Mountain Made. It's a business you built yourself, correct?
Yep. So at Mountain Made Canine, we train all types of different service animals. We do task-trained service dogs that have full public access rights. We train emotional support animals, and we also train therapy dogs.
And that sort of leads me to my next question. What task-trained service animals under the Americans with Disabilities Act are different than, as you mentioned, emotional support animals and therapy animals? So could you elaborate on what some of the differences are?
Yeah, of course. So an emotional support animal just provides emotional support for an individual. They are permitted to have living in a place where there would be a no pet policy, so long as they have a script from a medical professional. Whereas a task-trained service dog like Timber is trained to perform at least one task to mitigate a handler's disability. And this could be anything from ADHD to diabetes. It could be people needing guide dogs. There's a wide range of tasks that service animals can perform.
Right, and if memory serves, under the ADA, dogs are the primary service animal. There's a small category of miniature horses.
Yeah.
Yep. Dogs are the primary service animal per the Americans with Disabilities Act. So let's talk a little bit about what training for Timber and his cohorts would look like.
Yeah, so we offer a lot of different training programs so that we can make the cost of training and the cost of getting a dog more accessible and affordable for individuals with disabilities, because we know that it can be expensive. But we always start with our foundational training program, whether that's somebody bringing a puppy, whether it's one of the puppies that we train, or we sometimes will rescue dogs, we'll train them and rehome them as service animals. And then if they want us to do additional task training, then we can do that afterwards.
Okay, and what are some, and you mentioned there's a wide variety of tasks that our dogs are trained for. Obviously people are most familiar perhaps with the seeing eye dog, or I believe that the correct term is guide dog for the visually impaired and blind, but what are some things that dogs do for other disabilities, I guess?
Sure. So for people with hearing impairments, dogs can alert to timers. They can alert to people who are trying to get their attention. They can pick up dropped items that the person with a hearing impairment might not hear that they dropped. While they are driving, they can alert to sirens that are, going on around them. They can look in the direction that a noise is coming from. They can alert to, like, if a doorbell rings or if there's someone at the door, they can come and alert their handler and show them what is making the noise. So there's a lot that like dogs can do for hearing impairments. For ADHD, dogs can alert to timers to try to keep people with ADHD on task. They can do hyperfixation interruptions. They can help with panic attacks. They can do anxiety alert. They can do deep pressure therapy for people that suffer from anxiety, or if they have a cardiac condition like postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, they can do deep pressure therapy. They can elevate the people's knees or their legs to help the blood flow go back to their heart. There's a lot that they can do.
Wow, so, and you mentioned there's a foundational thing that all of the dogs go through before they head to work on the specific task that their handler will need them for. What I have some experience working with consumers. What is that foundational curriculum? What does the dog learn in that foundational curriculum?
Yeah, so we focus a lot on load management training. That's where we teach the dogs emotional regulation so they can manage their own emotions, so that they can then help their handlers with their emotions. We also work on focus and engagement training so we can teach the dogs to be more focused on their handler and less distracted by things in the environment. We do a lot of socialization training, desensitization training to a wide variety of auditory, tactile, and visual stimuli. We do a lot of the foundations for task training. We do neutrality training, so we teach the dogs to be neutral. We do generalization training where we teach the dogs how to generalize their skills. Once they have learned skills in our facility, we then take them out in public and we teach them how to generalize those skills in public. And then we also start public access training.
Right, and the public access training is where the dog learns about how to be in public, right?
Yeah.
I remember seeing a picture of a bunch of dogs sitting in a theater. I think it might have been Broadway, that they brought a bunch of dogs to serve a afternoon dress rehearsal for a play, and the cast got the benefit of an audience, the dogs got a benefit of the training of how to sit through a theater performance. So again, at Lyft, one of the things we do in working with you or working with other, whether it's accessibility modifications on homes or something, is we help people sort of piece together some of the financing, and we do that largely through helping people apply for grants. So it can be a little time consuming, it can be a little, but it's great when it all comes together. And again, I've worked some cases with other providers. I'm not familiar with you guys. What is the usual, how much money are we looking to raise usually?
Sure.
When we're looking at somebody, say, with panic disorder who needs a dog trained to help alert them to when perhaps they need to employ their coping skills?
Sure. So we have a wide price range to try to help meet everybody's price range. But if we do all of the training, then it can be anywhere from maybe $10,000 to 50 or 60,000. It depends on if we're starting with a puppy or if we're rescuing a dog. It depends on if somebody is starting with a dog. We have had clients who have been able to afford the training as low as 6,000 to 8,000, and then they have their their own pet essentially trained as a fully task trained service dog.
Okay. So yeah, and again, we have at Lyft had success in getting significant grant funding to help defray the costs of training in the past, and hopefully we'll continue to do that in the future. One of the largest sort of things is we deal with, in addition to public relations, I'm the government affairs specialist at Lyft, and every legislative session we see a bill that talks about regulating service animals, and we keep having to tell the Montana legislature politely that the federal law is pretty clear about what the regulations for a service animal are and what a business owner's rights and responsibilities are, what the handler's rights and responsibilities are. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that. It's my understanding that under the ADA, there is no registry, there is no, but if a person says that the animal with them is a service animal, the facility has the right to ask them a couple of questions, and it's escaping my mind what those questions are, so maybe you could.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're allowed to ask 2 questions. The first being, is this a service animal required for a disability? And then what task or tasks has the dog been trained to perform to mitigate that disability?
Right. And then it's the responsibility of the handler to keep the dog in, for lack of a better term, in check.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So yeah, it does. And there have been incidents over the years, which inevitable. You've got living creatures of both the human and the dog type. So you say that Timber here, who will is a multi-purpose service dog. Is he in training, or has he been trained? Or?
So he's fully trained. There's still some tasks that I work on teaching him just because he's a very intelligent dog.
Okay.
He's a working line German Shepherd, so just so that he doesn't get bored, I just constantly keep him on his toes and I try to teach him new things.
Is he your service dog?
He is, yeah.
So if you don't mind, maybe talk a little bit about your disability and
Sure. Yeah, no, not at all. So I have postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. I was diagnosed after having COVID, so I have always had POTS, but my symptoms were very manageable. After having COVID, it kind of pushed my symptoms over the edge to where I now need a service dog. What that means basically is anytime I go from like a sitting to a standing position, my heart rate can go anywhere from 30 to 40 or 50 beats per minute. It will increase and it will not go down. It'll pretty much just increase and continue to increase, which can cause lightheadedness, dizziness. It could cause fainting. Thankfully, I only have near syncope. There are other people that do have POTS that they do faint, but Timber can alert to those if I'm standing for too long, if I kind of before I start to feel lightheaded, he can sense that coming on and he can alert me so that I can sit down before I get too lightheaded or dizzy. He also helps with my ADHD. I was diagnosed with severe ADHD a couple years ago, and even with medication, I still need the help of a service dog to help me focus and stay on task. A few things that he does is he'll kind of like, if I'm doing a task, especially if I'm working in my office, if he hears somebody coming up the stairs and I'm just like in hyperfixation mode and I'm working really hard, he will come up to me and kind of break that hyperfixation, get my attention, let me know that somebody is coming so that I can kind of like write down like on a Post-it note, what I'm working on, where I left off in my task, so that when I come back to sit down, I remember which task I was working on. A lot of times people with ADHD have a hard time when their hyperfixation is broken, or if they're working on a task, they have a hard time coming back to that task, remembering what they were working on, and then re-engaging with that task. That's one thing he does. He also brings my medication to me. If I'm working on a task and my alarm goes off and I don't hear it, he'll bring my medication bag to me. He also retrieves water for me. He can go to the refrigerator and he can get water and bring it to me, and then he can go back and close the fridge and then come back to me. If I'm having like a panic attack caused by like emotional dysregulation because of my ADHD, he can do deep pressure therapy, light pressure therapy. He can let me know that a panic attack is coming before it comes. So I could like get out of a store or something. I do also have dissociative episodes with my ADHD and my panic attacks. So if I'm in a store and I feel I'm going to dissociate, then I just tell Timber to find the exit, and he can guide me to an exit, and he can guide me to my car. If I'm out with a family member, I can ask him to follow that family member if I do feel like I'm dissociating and it's not a time where I can go home. That way I don't just spend time aimlessly wandering in a store.
Right. Okay, that's fascinating. That's one thing we encounter at Lyft, or at least I have, is that somebody will come into my office and say, well, I've got this disability, that disability, the most thoughtful will say, is a service dog right for me? And I don't know how to answer that question. I can answer that question for myself, I think. I have Asperger's and cerebral palsy, and I love animals, but I look at having the responsibility of a service dog as another piece of the chessboard that I don't necessarily want to manage. Is there a sort of a screening process for not only for the animal but for the human to decide whether this is something they should pursue?
Yeah, so we get that question a lot. When people come to us and they say like, hey, I'm not sure if a service dog is right for me, I always tell people to first, talk to their medical professionals. Second, they can also try to decide for themselves if their disability is impacting their ability to live what would be considered to be a normal life. And if they would want the responsibility of having to also take care of the dog. Service dogs are wonderful. They do wonderful things for lots of people, but they are also a lot of work. I always tell my clients it's a partnership. It's a complete lifestyle change. So if people want that lifestyle change, your dog is with you all the time. I love it. I personally love having a service dog. I love having my dog with me all the time. I love that he helps me all the time. We're a team, and I like that, but not everybody, can handle that responsibility. There's also the care of the dog. Are you going to be able to pay for the grooming costs, the vet bills? Service dogs have to be in top working condition all the time so they can take care of their handlers, and that does cost more than an average pet. So it is definitely a lifestyle change.
Okay. What is the lifespan of a normal pet dog is 10 to 15 years. What is the working life of a service dog?
Yeah, so typically service dogs will start working for their handlers. If you start them out as puppies, they can start working for their handlers anywhere from 1.5 to 2 years of age. And they typically work until they're anywhere maybe 5 or 6 years of age or so. I have seen people that have worked dogs past that. Timber might work past that. I don't think he'll take retirement well. He's a working line dog and his heart's in it. But most of the time we retire dogs at about 6 years of age.
Okay. It's interesting. Yeah, I would. Yeah. Yeah, 6 times 7. That's roughly human retirement age. Or what? It's all been very fascinating. How would how would people get in if they're interested in your services and may not need to come through us? How would they get in touch with Mountain Made?
They can send us an email at mountainmadecanine@gmail.com. They can also call our facility directly. They can get in touch with us through our social media. We have Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, so they can get in touch with us that way.
Great. Well, Alicia and Timber, thank you for joining us today on Living Well in Montana. Again, Living Well in Montana is a program of living independently for today and tomorrow. And if you're interested in learning more about service dogs or about any of the services and resources that Lyft provides for persons with disabilities, please reach out to us. We're on the web at liftt.org. We are also on Facebook and Instagram, as well as YouTube, where this program will be headed, as well as the website of Community 7. Again, our phone number here in Billings is 406-259-5181, and for those of you who may be in the eastern portion of our service area, the phone number for our Glendive office is 406-948-8500. Again, my name is Jed Barton, and thank you for watching. Have a great day.